Hey, Greek yogurt, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite albums. And today I'm going to do a review on the latest Blu Exile album, Miles. So, rapper Blu and producer Exile, they have returned one more time for the album Miles, and this is not their first collaboration ever. Actually, in the year 2007, they have collaborated and dropped Below the Heavens, which is a very underrated album in the 2000s. And then a few years later, apparently they have kind of technically collaborated as well, but it's actually more like Exile made these beats. These beats passed on to Blu. Blu wrote some lyrics on it, and that's it. And this time they have returned once again after a long time. And boy, this is a big project. This is a 20 tracks long and also 1 hour and 35 minutes long. And usually rap albums that are double albums are just bloated, a lot of filler tracks that are forgettable. But actually, this album is really solid. Like a good big chunk of the songs on this album are actually really good. And the reason behind is that there are great beats and great flows and great rhymes, and that's pretty much just it. Now, when it comes to versatility, this album isn't really the most versatile rap album of all time, and it's nothing experimental. It's nothing groundbreaking. The beats, they're very simple, they're upfront, crispy drums, soulful jazz, samples, the drill, but it's still really, really good stuff. So I will talk about every track. Blue is the album opener, and it's a pretty humble opening. We get these very angelic strings, a surreal atmosphere, also these baby vocal samples, and instrumentally it's just okay. It's not that spectacular of an album opening. Lyrically, it's pretty cool, where Blue, of course, does all these wordplay. This album is pretty special because it's called Miles, and there's a lot of Blue references in here because the rapper's name is Blue, yes, but also Miles Davis has an album called Kind of Blue, and since his name is Blue, and he and Exile, they made a jazz rap album which is inspired, and the jazz is inspired by Miles Davis because he's such a jazz icon. And then Miles, and then there are lyrics on this album about traveling to different places that are miles away, so Miles. So it's all somehow interconnected, which is really cool. So yeah, Blue. Not a bad opening at all, not that great either, but the second track is pretty fantastic. It's called When the Gods Meet. We have a very sweet vocal sample and cool vocal harmonies, as well as a really nice, hopeful, celebratory tone to it. Thick keyboards building up to the chorus, and I also really like the immediate beat. Also, I forgot to mention this, but actually, last year, Blue and Ono also had a collab album, and it's one of my favorite rap albums of that year, but this one's better. The third track being True and Livin', and it feels really, really, really West Coast to the beats and the instrumentals. They are really relaxing. We even get these beat scratches, the good old 90s beat scratch. And overall, the instrumentals are still pretty bland, pretty slow, meh. The performances are pretty good, as usual. The fourth track is Miles Davis, and it is one of my favorite songs on the entire album. I love the very jazzy pianos on this track. The beat is smooth, and also we have lyrics about Blue sort of mastering his art style. And obviously the track called Miles Davis, we have a lot of references to Miles Davis, and I think that's really cool. And the next track, The Feeling, is nearly 7 minutes long, and it's a pretty great track as well. The instrumentals are a little bit more convenient, but still they sound fantastic. We get a warm bass, which is really nice. Also very heartfelt, sincere keyboards. And we have Blue rapping about the music industry, how it almost screwed him over, and how he sort of grew past the music industry. The track Music Is My Everything is also a pretty long song at around 6 minutes long. Instrumentally, it's pretty spacey. We get these nice keyboards. And this track is about how music is his everything, about how he started learning and loving music when he was young and how his path is paved because of music. Afterwards, we have Brightest Stars, which is also a pretty great track. The vocals on this track are sweet. And also, we have 3 other features on this track, which is really cool. Each of them actually get their own shining moment. And this track is essentially about starting your rap career and how the career started, which is almost like a sequel to the previous track, which is really cool. Afterwards, we have Blue As I Can Be. Once again, we get these beat scratches and a very simple piano lick for the instrumental. And while instrumentally, again, it doesn't blow me away, when it comes to Blue's performance, it is really, really good. The flows are relentless and the rhyming scheme is actually really clever. And we have the track You Ain't Never Been Blue, which is definitely a low point on the album, where instrumentally it's really spacey, it's really dry, but I guess the worst thing about this track is that Exile himself tries to rap, and it's not that good. The bars are really not up to par, especially when he's rapping with Blue, and you can really see the quality gap. Afterwards, we have a streak of just really, really great tracks. First off, we have Miles Away. The instrumentals, they are bright, they're soulful, they're really upbeat and uplifting. And then we have lyrics about being away, being miles away, missing someone, also how some of his friends are being screwed over by the prison system, or how some of his family members are being drafted, and how people change, people move on, and it's a really, really good song topic. Up next, we have the track Troubled Water, also a highlight on the album for me. Very, very, very beautiful soul choir samples, as well as a heavy boom bap groove. And then we have the very good performances, flashy flows, and also this guy shows up twice on this album, and on this track, and the way he sings, it's like Jamaican patois, so it makes this track a little bit more special. Up next, we have Roots of Blue, and it's also one of my favorite tracks on the album. It's 9 minutes long, but long rap songs can actually be good. I mean, look at Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst by Kendrick Lamar. This track is 9 minutes long, but the beat of this thing is just very mysterious in that we get these chopped up hand drums, primal tribal percussion, and also this very mystical bluesy guitar lick, or maybe it's something else, but it's really mystical, really strange. And it's one of those tracks on the album that is experimental, and it really, really works. And we have lyrics about African tribes and how soul music and blues music sort of start from there. And Blue really does a lot of research. I mean, he does rap a lot about the African tribes and the roots of music on this track. Also, the indigenous vocal samples are a really nice touch. The track African Dream is also really great, also about African culture, but so much more upbeat and fun. The patois singing on this track is also really fun as well. The track Requiem of Blue has a really dreamy and easygoing instrumental, and we have lyrics sort of talking about several different things, but the first verse talking about a lot about his childhood, which is really nice, and a confessional. Also, the flutes on this track. There are flutes on this track. They're quiet, but they're there, and it works. It really works. And the singing, we have additional singing on this track, and they're catchy, and they don't overshadow the rapping. It's just there for, to make the track better. Up next, we have The American Dream, which is about the American dream, hopes, dreams, but also materialism, money. And again, we get the poppy singing, easygoing guitars as the instrumentals, which is really peppy, and overall pretty solid performances. The track Dear Lord is also pretty good. It sounds very positive, it sounds really uplifting, and we get these anthemic horns, and this track has this very strong gospel vibe as well, which is really, really nice. And then afterwards we have To the Fall But Not Forgotten, which is instrumentally one of the least eventful tracks on the album. We get these chopped up pianos, and lyrically we have references to different cultural figures here and there, which is a little confusing, but okay. The track All the Blues has a very messy, jazzy instrumental, and messy in a good way, by the way. And essentially, Blue raps about Miles Davis on this track, actually. And then we have the penultimate track, Spread Sunshine, which has a pretty simple and plain beat. And lyrically, it's about traveling to different places, and being miles away. Going from this place to that place, how many miles, and just a play on words in general. And it's not a bad song, but not one of the special songs, not one of the more outstanding songs on the album, anyways. And the album ends off with The End, which is a really grand, dramatic final ending to the album. The beats, they're extra loud, extra noisy, and I actually really, really like it. I really love the finality in this track, and I really love how just grandiose all the instrumentals come together, and it's a really good album ending. So yeah, overall, just a really, really solid album. The fact that it has 20 tracks and most of them are great, and yeah, not much else to complain about. I guess I wish that this album is a little bit more versatile, because after all, it's just beats and rhymes, but they're really good beats and rhymes, So yeah, I think my favorite track here is Miles Davis, probably, and my and my least favorite track here is You Ain't Never Been Blue. I'm giving Blu Exile Miles a decent to strong 8 out of 10. Yes. So, if you listen to Miles from 1 to 10, I'm going to rate it, like if you like it, and subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching. I will be reviewing Fontaine's DC, post-punk band from Ireland, very soon.